about Eric?
You really want to know what
No,
my name is?
I saw that. No, I saw that coming. Hi everyone, we are back on Let's Talk with Mel, and we are here with Eric today.
Hello, everyone.
That was Eric. Okay, Eric, I'm gonna give you a couple minutes to tell us about you. When people think of you, what do they think? What are you known for?
Um, probably now being one of the more creepier monsters at Not Scary Farm. It depends on which iteration of my life. Professionally, my other job, I'm pretty well known in that industry. I work with zoos and aquariums, uh, and help them put together the displays and whatnot. Uh, I've been doing that for 20 years, so I'm pretty well known in that area too. So it depends on which part of my existence or which Eric you meet, what people know me for.
So when you say you put together the displays, like you what displays?
Uh, I help them acquire and make sure that their exhibits are done in a sustainable, responsible manner.
Do you
So
actually get to play with animals?
I do get to play with animals on a daily basis.
Now I'm jealous.
I
What
get to
kind
play
of
with octopus and sharks and jellies and stars. Not starfish, they're not fish, stars. But yeah, things
you
like
call
that.
them stars?
Stars, sea stars. Yep.
Why don't you call them starfish?
They're not fish. Yeah.
Fun
And
fact.
jellies, not jellyfish, they're jellies.
Fun fact, they're not starfish, they're stars. Sea stars.
Yep.
They're not jellyfish, they're jellies.
Yep. And it's a clownfish, it's not Nemo.
Clownfish, not Nemo. I love it. I love all the fun facts. What else can you tell us about you?
Um, I lived all over. I come from a military family. I went into the military after high school, so I've lived all over the U.S. I've lived abroad. Um, so I've got to experience a whole bunch of different things. I went to UCLA for college. Worked at Disneyland through college. Got done with that. Yeah, I tried to. My goal in life is not to get into the box at the end going, I wish I would have. I don't want to be that person that gets buried with regrets.
So you like to live life to the fullest and live every day like it's your last kind of sort of thing?
I try to. It's hard sometimes, but I try to.
Okay. And what did you study at UCLA?
Behavioral science. I have a dual degree in human and animal behavior with a minor in cultural anthropology.
Okay, cultural anthropology is actually really cool and something I considered. Can you tell me more? Me personally, sorry you guys, I need to know this for a second. Tell me about cultural anthropology.
I kind of swung a little bit towards Mesoamerican studies, so south of the border, South America, Mayan, Aztec, that kind of stuff. I find it really interesting, especially considering that most of the culture was burned by the Spaniards during the conquistador period.
And then behavioral science, what did you learn there?
That human beings are a lot more like an animal than we want to admit.
Can you tell us a little more?
No, because then I wouldn't be able to. I'd be giving away some of my trade secrets for Scary Farm.
So you use your behavioral science studies to scare people. You actually incorporate.
I do. I went to college to scare people.
You went to college to scare people. I love this. Tell us about scaring people.
It's fun. I never woke up and said it was something that I wanted to do. Some people I worked with did it, and they kind of got under my skin. And then I went down with a friend years ago to audition and ended up becoming a monster at Knott's. And it's just fun. It's kind of the same. It's almost the same thing as doing stand-up. To elicit a reaction as primal as laughter or a scream or fight or flight, it really means you're establishing a connection with that person on a really primal level, really intimate level. I mean, it's when you can make somebody pee their pants. I mean, it's an interesting moment in life that you're sharing.
I would say so.
And yes, I've done that.
You were mentioning earlier some ways that you've terrified some people.
So, uh, one of the places that I was a monster was right back here at the Queen Mary. She's in the background, if you can see. Um, and there was, uh, there were usually quite a few drunk people there. And one of my things I like to do is to smell people. It puts them off a little bit. It's just not something that adult people do, but animals do. So it kind of registers in the back of their head. And I walked by this lady in the crowd, and I just went, and her drunk friend goes, "Oh, smell me." So I straightened up out of my monster position and and she goes, "Ooh." And I looked her right in the face. I said, "But you smell so much better when you're asleep." And got that look from her. She goes, "No."
Okay.
But did you die?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing right now. You've mentioned that you've done the scaring thing, you've done modeling, and you've done more stuff in that area. Can you tell everyone what more you've done?
Um, I've done commercial television. I've done series television. I did a season on Sweet Valley High. I've done some stuff for WB back in the day. I had to get out of that business because I had a child, and doing auditions does not pay the bills. Um, yeah, did some film, did some work on a couple of the Batman movies, and did some work on Volcano and stuff like that. So,
Where did you learn how to do all of your poses and the way that you model?
um, I just do it. It, uh, I just try to give the photographer as much material to work with and let them filter out. I mean, when I started, it was film. I mean, actual film. So, you know, each shot was valuable. Now with the advent of digital, and you can take a million shots in a day and not have to worry about it. You can kind of throw as much out there and let the photographers do what they want to do and see what they catch. My job is to, you know, for lack of any better term, try and make love to the camera.
I've been talking to a lot of the people that were also at the Mad Max shoot, and that was one of their first meets. And something that a lot of them had in common was they didn't feel like they knew how to pose or how to interact with the camera. Is there any kind of advice that you can give them?
The same advice that I give to new monsters when I'm working with them. If you're uncomfortable, that's where you need to be. In order to be in any business where whether it's acting or modeling, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not in the right part of the zone. You need to get out there. You need to push it. Um, safe is not someplace you want to be. It doesn't. You don't sell your product that way, and this is your product.
Okay, that's good advice. A little bit more about the Mad Max shoot. One of my favorite photos was of you and Scarlet Rose, and she has a weapon, and it looks like you're at her mercy. Now, from my perspective, it looks like there's so much going on in that picture. Was there actually a lot of thought behind it, or were you guys just winging it, and I'm in like some dreamland over here?
There were some points. There were 3 or 4 photographers down below us. There were some points where we were getting instructions from one photographer. There was a couple that were giving each other advice on aperture and exposure and things like that, on how to take better pictures. So it was kind of interesting seeing that. And then her and I were bouncing ideas off each other. Um, there was it was really just this really interesting collaboration at that moment, and it was, a lot of times we didn't even know we were being photographed. Um, her and I've done some weapons wrangling for stage productions here in Long Beach, some stage combat stuff. So I was kind of giving her some pointers on how to hold a katana and things like that. On top of that, and it was just, you know, you saw the outcome.
It was really nice. That was one of my
yeah.
favorites. But of all the locations we were at, what was your favorite location out there?
I would have to say at the end of the night, that little shack with all the graffiti on it, because anytime you're shooting and you're dodging pigeons flying by your head and broken glass, and yeah, that was an interesting one when we got into the actual housing development. But yeah, there was Tay and Bella and I were shooting, and we're at these windows, and all of a sudden pigeons just come out of the ceiling and fly past us,
Like real pigeon
like really for real pigeons
at night? Is
at
this
night
when we did after the boat thing?
after the boat thing.
Where did they come from?
They were in the ceiling of the house. They were
Okay,
sleeping up there.
that's kind of creepy, but realistic.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely not. I wasn't expecting fowl flying past my head.
Did anyone catch that on camera?
I don't know. I still haven't seen a lot of the finished shots for that one.
Okay. That sounds like it would be a cool picture. Were there any challenging moments for you? And these are two questions I ask everyone because I'm really curious as to how everyone's experience differed throughout the process.
For me, it was more doing costume changes. Was just trying to get through that part because I brought like my whole bed of my pickup was full of parts from. I even had a costume I didn't get into. Um, it's just because that one's a behemoth to get in. That's how it got its name. It's work to get into. Um, but I mean, as far as the actual doing it, I came down there to have fun. So I didn't regard anything as a challenge. I mean, I get a day to go drive down to Salton Sea, dress up in some costumes that I made, and just take pictures with a bunch of people.
We had a little bit of time to take some pictures together too. So we were crammed in this wooden boat that had a lot of splinters and broken pieces, and I totally
Glass.
felt in glass.
A glass.
And I felt like the bottom was going to break any second, and we were just going to fall through. It was super tiny in there, so I'm really short, and I was like scrunched, but you managed to get in there with like your whole outfit on too. Okay, so I know how I felt during that. How did you feel during that whole process?
Um, I'm once again not scared from. I'm used to being that close, and what Tara was asking me to do was, I just spent 2 months doing that 5 nights a week. So it seemed a little weird for you. For me, it's like putting a pair of dance shoes on again. Uh, and I did. Tara was egging me on to go hard, and I was not going to do that to you.
Can we just clarify for them what you did because there's no context here?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you can filter in one of the pictures into the interview. So
I will.
But she had me get right behind her in this costume that I have, where I'm standing about 6'3", 6'4", with the shoes on, with this handmade skeleton mask, and sitting about right here behind her, to the point where she could feel me breathing on her neck.
And if you know me, you know I'm not cool with people being that close to me. That was actually that was a point I did want to make. I'm generally not cool with people being that like close and touchy. So when people were like asking him to like do stuff, he was actually very considerate. And is that okay with you? Or are you okay with? I really appreciated that because in a lot of like circles and environments and situations, I wouldn't be, but people don't generally ask. So I think the fact that you asked and you were very considerate and gentle in the situation made me feel more comfortable being there. So I was really grateful for that. And I think more people should be like that. So thank you for that.
No problem. Maybe just you never know where what path has led somebody to be at your interaction. So it's um, there's a comfort level, and that's one of the things I've learned in the business is talking with the people you're working with. You'll get direction, and their idea, yeah, it sounds good on paper, but the actual execution at the end of the day, even though they want it to happen, for us to make it look good, it's not going to sell if you're not in that headspace. If you weren't cool with that, I may look right, you're not going to look right, and those photographs aren't going to come out well. If you're doing film, you're doing something that's not going to come across. If you're doing live theater, the audience will feel that in a second.
Yeah, I agree because looking back at the pictures, they did come out like really cool, but I was like low key, I was like, is this person gonna eat me? I don't know. Is he really gonna like do all the scary stuff I hear? Because I didn't know you. I think I saw you maybe half a
Yeah,
second out at the pyramid when someone was taking pictures of you. I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's a cool
yeah.
costume, but I had never met you before. That was cool. Um,
Clearly, the rumors aren't true.
yeah, I made it, you guys. I didn't die. So another question: what would you consider the highlight of your career?
Once again, it depends on which Eric you're talking to. Um, Having, the first time, like Monterey Bay Aquarium called me up and said, "Hey, we're strapped for time. Here's your budget. You get to create this exhibit," which is like one of the best aquariums in the world. That was a huge feather in my hat. Um, uh, Finding myself in the 50th anniversary anthology book at Knott's, my picture sitting in there, and then having somebody walk up to me, not somebody I knew, a stranger, walk up to me and ask me to autograph it. That hit me right in the feels. I was like, I did not know how to deal with that one. Um, you know, um, Sitting over here years ago in the Bat Cave, uh, dressed as Robin. So, I mean, there's, I'm very lucky to have done many things in my life that were high points, and I definitely wouldn't appreciate them if I didn't have some low points in my life. So I'm also, I think the best thing that's happened to me is I've been blessed with perspective. There's a lot of people that you know don't they're so caught up in their life that they don't stop to take a look around. A lot of people look at me funny when I do it, but I will actually stop in the supermarket or wherever and smell roses. I love roses. I go to Disneyland during the rain. I stomp in puddles. If I get you wet, I will turn around, look at you, and go, "I'm this many, and if you don't understand it, you're not here for the right reason." It's once I learned to let go of the steering wheel and live life on its terms and not try and live it on mine, uh, my serenity increased drastically.
I feel like that's an important thing to be able to do and learn, but I feel like it's really hard to do. It might sound easy, like, okay, yeah, just do it. But then it's like, how do you do it?
It took me. Actually, I took the biggest steps towards that in recovery. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I have 11 years sober now, but that was one of the things uh, that I learned in that process. Uh, was there's to just accept things as they are and not try and control people, places, and things. You don't let things like that rent space in your head. It rots you from the inside out. You get frustrated, and for me, it almost killed me.
Is that something you feel comfortable talking about?
Yeah, because when you have the opportunity to touch somebody's life, you take it. You never know what's going to happen. You could be walking down the street and somebody's having the worst day of their life. They say, you know what, if somebody walks by me, again, without acknowledging my presence, I'm going to go jump off a bridge. And you just walk by and go, hi. You keep walking. You never think about it. And that person, you just saved a life. You'll never know it. Same thing here. There may be somebody out there. I hope there's somebody out there that hears me talking about recovery. Um, I wouldn't have the opportunity to sit here had I not done it. But somebody might hear this and it spurs them, or they see something that inspires them to take that step. And for me, that's super important.
When things are difficult, I feel like that part of the um, thought process goes a little bit further because the more anxious I need to control the situation part comes forward, and it's really difficult to balance that out. How do you get to where you are?
Because I've made it through every day up until today. The most difficult day of my life, I made it through. The easiest day of my life, I made it through. And I'm going to get through this one too. Everybody forgets that they have made it through every hard my language shit day they have ever had. may not be, making it through unscathed, but they've made it through, and you're gonna make it through this one too.
Is there anything else you would like to share with people or say, or any messages you would like to put out
And
there?
just have fun. Don't let people tell you that you need to do this, that, or the other thing. Um, if you were if you were at Knott's this year, the 50th anniversary, I'm 50 years old. I was chasing teenagers around saying some ruthless stuff to them. If you're worried about what people think of you, come hang out with me for a while. We'll get you through that. Everybody's too self-absorbed anymore to worry about you.
That is a good point. That's a very good point. No one's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. It's always interesting, you see pictures of people and you put them into like this character and they're like serious or monster or this, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, you're a person.
Resting murder face.
Resting murder face.
That's it. That's what I get all the time. Resting murder face. You look so angry. Are you okay? Are you angry? Yeah, I'm fine.
I would believe that just looking at your pictures, but like you're so like joyful and full of life, and it's so interesting to see that side of people.
Regard people as like a pendulum. It goes, it's equitable. It goes just as far this way as it does the other way. So, everybody looks at me and goes, "Oh, you're so scary. You're so this," because they know me from that persona. And they, there's a lot of times at Knott's where I'd get, some kid would come down, some little, and I'd be down on the ground talking them through it, going, "Hey, this is, we're not that scary. Do you like Halloween? I just started dressed up early." I had one little boy that we had these things called no boo necklaces this year. These big bright blue neon things that people would wear them. You weren't allowed to scare them, and all the monsters freaked out when they heard about them. And it's like, if you listen to the monsters, they were talking like everybody in the gate was going to be wearing one, and I'm just, no, it's not. So it was kind of funny watching everybody freak. But this one boy, he came up to take a picture with me, and he had it on, and I got down and said, "You know what I think? I think that if you turn that thing off just for a few moments, that you'll find out that you're braver than you think you are." And later on that night, that kid and his mom came back, and he showed me that he had his Nobu necklace off. And they had annual passes, and every time they would come back, he comes back the next week, and he's not even wearing it. And he brings me gummy bears to say thank you. That little kid brought me gummy bears. They found me on Facebook.
That's so cute.
And made a thing to thank me for that, and their son's talking about me. So it's going back to the thing, you have the opportunity to touch somebody's life, you do.
Are there other situations other than what you've already shared that brought you to this place of perspective in life?
Almost dying. Things like that. Like if I didn't stop drinking, I would have been either in an institution, in a hospital, or in a morgue. So really, having that, seeing that, what was my bottom at the time, but the way I am, I would have hit the bottom of that elevator and got out a shovel and started digging some more.
How did you get out of that situation?
I was given the opportunity to go to rehab, and I was just looking. I was done. I was done. There was no like. I was so depressed and just done. And somebody gave me the opportunity, and I jumped. I knew that was the only chance I had to save my ass.
Would you say the desire to want to get better had to be there for you to get better?
Absolutely. The drinking was to shut my head down.
To shut it?
Yeah. To quiet it down.
What was going on in
just
your
things
head?
Stuff from previous things in life that I was carrying with me that I hadn't come to terms with. And the more I got comfortable talking with people about that and feeling less guilty about things that I've done, understanding that that it wasn't, things aren't necessarily my fault. So I was putting a lot of bricks in my backpack that weren't my bricks to carry.
Tell us what you do on your free time.
I don't have free time. September, October, I was work between both jobs. I was working 95, 100-hour work weeks. I was taking naps in between jobs. Don't get me wrong. I have two jobs I absolutely love, and I'm lucky. But yeah, I didn't need makeup at the end of the hunt because I looked like canned shit. Um, no, I take I try to spend time with family because when my drinking I didn't do that a lot, so I try to make up that time. I like go out hiking, scuba dive, rock climb. Uh, we're talking about taking jet skis to Catalina out of right here one of these days.
Sounds fun.
Taking ocean kayaks out and just laying around.
Is there any like long-term project you're working on?
Trying not to die.
Good plan.
Yeah. Just having fun, seeing what comes next. There was so much of life I put on the back burner for the longest time, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Going to places I haven't been before. I was in the last couple of years I've you know dove off 2 islands in Hawaii, Aruba, things like that. Taking we were we were doing we were taking Can-Ams through this field in Kauai, and it's the film where they shot Jurassic Park, the field where they shot Jurassic Park with the little dinosaurs running, and the first scene where the big brontosaurus gets up, and we stopped the thing, and there were cows out there, and I looked at my friends and I went, "They do travel in herds," and they smacked me.
You're a funny person too.
Oh, I live for dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yes,
Dad
the dad jokes are real.
Did you mention earlier you want to get back into stand-up comedy?
I know I didn't. I would love to get back into stand-up. I just got to find the time and, yeah.
Do you want to give us a quick routine?
I love the simple stuff. Two guys walk into a bar, one of them says, "Ow."
Well, thank you so much for talking to us and telling us your story, telling us a little bit more about you. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for being here with us.
No worries. If you see me around, I'm not that big of a jerk. I'm gonna say hi.